Hi guys, welcome back to the desk corner. Welcome to a new video, of course. In today's video, I thought it would be fun to play around with my new watercolor pencils because honestly, I just can't help it. I really just want to use these. I can't really look at my other supplies right now because I just got these. They're new and I haven't really gotten the chance to explore them as much as I want to. So today I think I'm going to tackle some landscape paintings, which have been on my mind recently. I really want to get better at landscape painting or drawing. I think painting is easier with landscapes than just using something like colored pencil. Watercolor pencil is a medium that I think works well with landscapes. This might not go super well because I am not very experienced with landscapes, so don't expect any masterpieces today, but also St. Patrick's Day is just around the corner. By the time you watch this, it will probably be over, so I think I want there to be a lot of green in my artwork, even if it's not explicitly St. Patrick's Day themed. So with that all being said, let's go ahead and just jump straight into this video and working on some artwork. So I'm starting this one out by sketching out my field here. This one is the one that's more inspired by St. Patrick's Day. As you could see, I am drawing in a rainbow, which I erased and did over a bunch of times. I was trying to figure out how to make it look the most accurate because I'm not very good at drawing circles or half circles or anything like that. So once I figured that out, I went in and started coloring this green field. I did mention there's going to be lots of green here. Let me tell you guys, I actually had a lot of fun with this piece. It's nothing like what I usually do with watercolor or watercolor pencils. I mean, I have done a few landscapes before, but I have never done a scene like this. I've always been intimidated to do scenes like this because I feel like I'm better at working on a close-up reference photo rather than something like this. If you haven't actually seen me unbox the Museum Aquarelles, I will link the video down below. It's my previous video. And when I was doing the demonstration with those for the first time, one thing I noticed was how vibrant the pencils were, and a lot of people commented and a couple people said that they were very opaque. And I realized that was very true because when I was working, I didn't have to go through many layers to get that really vibrant, opaque look, versus with my Albrecht Durers, I think I go through a few more layers before I can get it looking like that. And so they are less transparent, I believe. So I kept that in mind and I worked with very light layers in my initial layers here, and you can see when I go in with water to blend everything out, it becomes very vibrant even with those very minimal light layers. So I was really careful. I wanted to make sure I left some areas for highlights, and with this painting in particular, I was just working very slowly, and oftentimes I find it's beneficial to just work slowly and have patience sometimes. And other times I do like to rush through pieces, but I really wanted to take my time here and work on my technique since landscapes are not something that I'm really used to. I didn't go over my materials in the beginning, but I'm using the Albrecht Durer watercolor paper cold pressed, and I'm also using my Arteza water brush, which is the only water brush I ever use on this channel, so if you ever see me using a water brush, it's always going to be that one. When I went to work on the flowers, I was so sure I was going to mess it up, but the way I made them stand out was I left some highlights and shadows kind of just like around them, and I made sure that they were spaced out a little bit so they didn't look blurry. And honestly, I don't know how I pulled this part off because I was so sure I was going to mess it up, but I think that it looks pretty decent. It's nothing near perfect, but for somebody who isn't used to doing these types of paintings, I think it turned out just fine. And then of course there was this little trail or pathway that I ended up using my, I believe it was actually sepia 10% I used to do that. And then there were some more flowers that I decided to just wait to do because I didn't know what to do about those. And I skipped over ahead to the sky. And this is where things went a little bit wrong. So for the sky, I was using Payne's Gray and Steel Gray because those are the two cool grays. And this is supposed to be a very like stormy sky, like it's about to rain in the reference photo. And oh my goodness, did I have trouble blending out these colors at first. I was just trying to, get even layers on top, but once I realized that they weren't blending out, I started using like circular motions instead to try to make it look softer. And even that didn't really help too much, it helped a little bit. And so you'll see me working on this sky for a while because I was kind of struggling. I'm not sure if it was just the Payne's Gray in particular that I had issues blending out a little bit, or if I just was not very great in my technique here, but as you could see at the beginning, the sky looked incredibly patchy and just not very good. And so as I continue to work on the sky and struggle, I guess I'll chat with you guys a little bit. I'm actually curious what's going to happen with this video because I'm going to post on either Saturday or Sunday, which I don't really do on my channel, and I'm curious if it's going to affect the performance of the video or if you guys will still watch it. I mean, honestly, I was just a little bit late with this video. I kind of missed my posting date. And what's been going on is there's a lot in my personal life right now. I also changed jobs and I'm in the process of trying to buy a new car, and there's just like a lot of hectic things going on. And so I know I mentioned being burnt out on my channel a little while back, but I don't feel that way anymore. I'm actually very excited to make new videos for the channel. It's just so happened that a lot is going on right now and I've struggled to get content out on time. So if any of you are wondering about that, don't worry about that. It's just that I have been a little bit busier than I expected to be recently, but that's okay because I know that I can plan accordingly once things calm down, which should be soon, and hopefully we won't have too many issues like this in the future. I'm pretty good about keeping on schedule most of the time with my posts. You guys probably saw there that I went in and decided to work on the flowers a bit because I gave up on the sky, and here I am just continuing to add to that sky, trying to fix it, but it just wouldn't go down smoothly. Everything just looked so patchy and I didn't like it, so I kept layering, and I knew I had to work on it until I fixed it because I had worked so hard on the rest of it. I felt like I needed to make sure that I gave this piece justice by working on the sky and making it look better. What I eventually did though was I added some pencil while the paper was still just slightly damp because one of my commenters had actually recommended that I try this, and I thought, hey, why not, because this is already such a mess. So I did that, and actually that fixed the issue, and suddenly the clouds became softer. And see, as I'm blending out, you can see that they are looking much more like storm clouds now. And so thank you to the person who gave me that advice. Actually, that really helped me out with this painting. And then here I am just working on the rainbow, which was a little bit of a mess because the red kind of overtook all the other colors, but you know what? It's okay. I lightened it up a little bit and I think that it looks decent enough. And so I'll show you guys the final piece. Here's how it turned out. I was actually pretty proud of it. I mean, I thought that, you know, there were a few areas that I could have fixed a little bit. The rainbow is a little bit funny looking, but I'm just happy that I ended up fixing the sky, or I would have been quite upset with myself if I hadn't and I had let it ruin the whole piece. And so on to the second piece here, and for this piece I kind of just rushed things a lot, and it was more like a sketch. I actually did it all in one day, like just in a couple hours, because that's what I had time for yesterday. And sometimes I do that just so that I can get a video out in time, or so that I can get a piece to show up in a video, but then oftentimes the piece is not really entirely finished. But you know what, it's okay, I can always finish it later and add more to it. So I started out kind of just with this sketch of like a very like mossy forest, like a swamp type of picture, and there was a bit of green in it, a bit of gray, kind of like the previous reference photo, but some more brown, of course. It was kind of a gloomy photo, not quite as inspired by St. Patrick's Day, but I kind of just wanted to experiment with my pencils a little bit and see how they would layer in certain situations. So I started working on these trees, which at first turned out okay because I had left enough highlight, which I think is important, but as the piece went on and as I kept working on it, I kind of lost some of that highlight. And in the first piece I worked on, I was very careful to make sure I didn't lose the highlight. As I mentioned before, and as you guys mentioned before, these pencils are very vibrant and opaque, and it's very easy to lose your highlight and to get colors very bright when you're not sure yet if you want them to be that bright. So again, the first layer here was okay, but as I continued working on it, it just became a little bit more murky and flat, I would say. But regardless, even if I didn't work the hardest on this piece, or if I didn't work on it as long as it probably deserved me to, I definitely learned a few things just experimenting with my pencils a bit. And sometimes you don't need to have a piece be perfect. Sometimes it's fun to just do more of a sketch, which is what I was doing. Oh, this part's a bit funny. I was realizing that I needed to create some background, like darkness or contrast in this forest, and I wasn't sure how to go about that, so of course I went in with my black pencil. I was trying to fill in some of the areas, but I think some of them were mismatched as to where the shadows should have been, and then I kind of fixed it a little bit. I just added all these shadows between the trees to create a bit more contrast. Even though I created some more contrast, I still felt like a lot of things were looking dull, like the trees themselves, the leaves were looking kind of dull. And then I worked on this lake with my Payne's Gray, and I actually mixed sets here, and I used my indigo blue from the Albrecht Durer set because there isn't actually an indigo blue that came in my 40 set of Caran Museum Aquarelles because, again, I bought the 40 set. There's probably way more colors, of course, that would work for this lake in the larger sets, but that's okay because I have the other set to kind of supplement this one in case I am missing a color in one or the other, because I do have the 60 set of Albrecht Durers, by the way. I added some darker, I think black to my brown here to make some of the tree trunks a bit more, I guess, defined, because it's almost like a lot in this picture wasn't very defined. And again, I think I'm just going to leave it out and maybe work on it when I have a bit more time, because I'm not sure I'm very happy with how it turned out, but at least I was able to play around with my pencils and I had a fun time working on this regardless. And here are my two pieces. Of course, I really like this first one better, although I do need to fix the rainbow a little bit if I can. Maybe add some orange to balance it out. In the second one, it was more of a sketch and I need to trim it down actually, but I think I could work on it a little bit more, make it pop out a bit more, maybe add some colored pencil on top or something like that. I guess we'll see what I feel like doing with that in the future. I definitely like the first one better though, and I was having fun experimenting and playing around with these pencils, and I hope that you guys enjoyed watching that as well. Thank you guys for watching today's video, and thank you for your continuous support of my channel as well. I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel. I know sometimes I'm inconsistent with it and I don't always post on the same days lately, which is very unusual for me because I always used to post on the exact same day, but things have been a little bit hectic lately and I'm still posting fairly regularly, but just sometimes on random days it seems like. Anyways, you guys, thanks regardless for watching my videos, and don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of today's video and some of the paintings that I did, or these pencils of course if you've tried them out before, and let me know what else you'd like to see from me in the near future in my next video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks again so much for watching. Bye!